Let's dig right into it. Let's talk a little bit about Ethereum. Maybe we should back up and talk about blockchains in general, and how blockchains work at a high level. And then let's take a look at what happened with Ethereum and why that's significant in the crypto space. And then we'll talk about kind of what that means, right? Because I am a crypto miner, so I'm impacted by this, as are most miners who mine with a GPU system. So let's just back up and talk about how blockchains work. So basically, the whole idea behind cryptocurrency and Bitcoin kind of started it all. Was basically there's no authority. So in a traditional banking setup, when you have to sign up for an account with someone, and let's say I'm sending you money, right? So if I send money to you, then what actually happens is I send a request to my bank, right? My bank sends the money to your bank, and then your bank releases it to you. So there's two authorities, right, involved. As opposed to if I give you cash, right? If I give you cash, there's nobody else involved. There's me and there's you. So cryptocurrencies try to kind of get back to this. And basically the way this sort of works is, for the sake of this kind of conversation, is really you have that mechanism, right? That moving crypto from my wallet to your wallet, that is facilitated by miners. So that's what people that mine, that run graphics cards, that's what they do. They validate transactions and they log transactions. And you've heard, I'm sure you've heard the blockchain mentioned when you hear crypto being talked about. And the blockchain is just this big ledger of blocks, right? So it's a chain of blocks. It makes sense. But this ledger, you put all the records on of kind of what, like, each transaction. And so whoever can do that the fastest gets rewarded by the system. They receive a reward, and that's why miners mine. And it's basically a race to see who can do it first, right? Who can do it first and the fastest. And the thing is that requires a lot of hardware, a lot of money, and it requires a lot of energy. Now, I don't necessarily buy into the fact that it's, mining is detrimental to the environment. I think that's kind of a bullcrap statement, in my opinion. I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think it's more, it's more about bottom line, to be honest, for me, right? But you're running a heater in your basement, in your heater during the winter, and your heater does nothing but keep you warm. So you want to talk about energy usage for silly reasons, right? I mean, that's a silly energy use. You could do other things to stay warm. You could bundle up more, but we don't do that because that's inconvenient. Anyway, that's a whole different sandbox we could go on and talk about. I'd be happy to at some point. The gist of it is, you have a blockchain. This is what's called proof of work. You have a blockchain, and you have all of these miners that are out there. And the first group of them to successfully validate and add that block to the chain, they get a reward. So that's how proof of work operates. That's what Ethereum was yesterday. Today, Ethereum is now what's called proof of stake. And proof of stake is simply more like something like the internet, where you bring a node online, you stake a certain amount of Ethereum, which really just means you put up that Ethereum you lock it, basically. So you can't withdraw it for a period of time. And when you lock that Ethereum up, you then are able to run what's called a validator. right? And the validator basically assists other validators in confirming that, you know, what I actually sent when I sent you money, that actually happened, and that needs to be recorded. So that's what's called proof of stake, and that's what Ethereum went to. And so what that effectively means is all of my miners were mining Ethereum. They can't do that anymore because that's not how that works anymore. So now they're off mining. I think I'm mining Raven coin at this point. They're off mining Raven, and it hurts the profit margin, right? But can you say, oh, Pixel stored up some Ethereum, and it's going to be staking Ethereum. And the hope is, so you still earn rewards with staking. It's just that I don't have the overhead of the electric cost. And these things cost quite a bit of electricity to run. I mean, they are, it's hard to understand until you've kind of been around them, but they generate about, I have six rigs, right? 6 computers. And Kippers has a couple in there as well. He has 3 in there, 4 in there. Those 10 computers raise the temperature in my building about 30 degrees. So they put out a ton of heat, and that obviously correlates to electricity. So the more heat they're generating, obviously, you know, they're doing something to make that heat, and that's electricity. So the electricity bill, you know, my average electricity bill is somewhere between $150 to $250, depending on what day or what month of the year it is. Without the rigs, you know, with the rigs, it's gonna be, you know, it's another $1,000 probably. So it's an expense. Now they make more than that, obviously, or I wouldn't be running them. But that's the expense. So big historic moment for Ethereum. I mean, that no other crypto has ever made this jump from proof of work to proof of stake. So that's really cool. I mean, that's an amazing feat. Now there's a lot of speculation on whether, you know, it's going to do good, is this going to do bad, what's the situation going to look like. I think we have to wait and see. I'm very optimistic about it, obviously, but of course I am. I'm staking Ethereum, so I hope it does really well. I think it will. And, you know, not to get in the weeds too much, but it also makes Ethereum deflationary. So basically, it's basically, there's a finite amount of Ethereum, right? And that's going to help. I think that's going to help drive the price up. And the other thing is, you're incentivizing people to hang on to ETH. And I think that ultimately makes the coin's price go up. Now, in 5 months, you might come back here and call me a dumbass. That's fine. But I think for now, I think no one knows. But my assumption is it's going to go up. I'm super bullish on it. I think that it'll probably go up to close to Bitcoin's price, you know, within the next 2 years. So, and I hope it does, because I have a lot to gain from it if it does. But we'll wait and see. So it's pretty neat that that happened. So if you hear people talking about that today, now you know what that is. At least you have a general idea of kind of what that is, and how that's important. And, you know, the reason Ethereum did that is, well, some of it was the energy stuff, which again, I don't necessarily buy into. But some of it was also, it's going to allow the capability of more transactions happening at a time. So Ethereum's really trying to grow itself in this space. You know, Bitcoin is kind of the digital gold. And its goal is really just to store value, and, you know, it's trying to innovate and but that's what everyone looks at it like. That's what it marketed itself at for a long time. So that's ultimately what it is. Ethereum is really trying to expand on that, and it was the first crypto to do things like decentralized apps. and introduce a lot of things. So I look at Ethereum more like the oil, and I heard somebody give that analogy a while back, and I think that's a great analogy. Bitcoin is gold, and it's always going to be valuable. Ethereum is oil, and it's valuable because it's oil, but it's also valuable because of what it can do. And I think that's going to make a big difference for it. And I think it's going to, you add on all these other things, now it's got a finite amount of it in existence. And I think you've got the potential for some big growth. Now we've got some, I know in the US, and I think it's around the world, right? We got some crazy economy things going on. So who knows how long that'll take or what'll happen. And I was kind of surprised to see the crypto market get affected by inflation, because I thought it was going to be, hey, thanks, Mac. It's not, I don't have it on currently, but thank you. Crisp. But I think that it's going to be, really good. It's going to be really good for Ethereum, and I'm looking forward to kind of seeing where it goes. From here, we may look back on this and say this was the beginning of the end. I hope not. We may look back at this and say this was it. This is when crypto went from just being something, some people talk about and use, to something everyone uses and talks about. Who knows, maybe some people will make lots of money. I hope I'm one of them. So yeah, and I'm going to put this on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube now, make sure you come check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/pixelgrease. That's PXLGREASE. I really appreciate everyone coming out and checking out the chat and just hanging out with me. It's cool talking to you guys live. And then if you're on YouTube or if you're on Twitch, either one, and you haven't checked out my YouTube, please go there, like and subscribe, so you can get notified when I put new videos up, especially if you can't always make the streams. My videos usually go up there, 24 to 48 hours later. So they will be there.